Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today what we are going to be doing first is that I'm actually going to be talking about what really happened in the EPL during the past weekend, which was a match week 22, and we're actually going to be looking at 5 key moments in the EPL. Then we talk about the last one of the points we are going to be looking at is actually going to be Arsenal. Then it will lead us on to discuss, the Arsenal topic for today. So basically, the very first thing we're actually going to be looking at is how, the Sherries are close to the Champions League spot. When you look at what happened over the weekend, you realize that Bournemouth really destroyed Newcastle at St. James's Park. They destroyed the Newcastle by scoring 4 goals to 1. And in that match, we saw the best of Clivert. Iraola's side ran riot at St. James's Park. Their forward is actually injured currently, and despite that, Justin Clivert stepped forward and scored 3 goals out of the 4 goals in St. James's Park. So when you look at this, you realize that while Newcastle was trying to play about 10 or 11 matches and make it unbeaten for them, their luck was actually spoiled by Bournemouth. And I mean, now they are very much in the mix between the top 6, the top 7, and they are very close to about the Champions League. And the other thing that really happened in the EPL this week that is also very surprising is the fact that we saw Lewin, called for Everton. He hasn't scored in 16 games, and he actually really scored for Everton because Everton versus Tottenham was also the match of the weekend. And in that match of the weekend, we saw that, let me see who was even at home. So Everton was actually at home, and they destroyed Tottenham by 3 goals to 2. In fact, I'm even surprised that Tottenham were able to score 2 goals back because it was 3-0 first. Then Tottenham find a way to score 2 goals. So Tottenham is not a team I respect. They try to compare so much. They try to compare themselves so much to Arsenal, but we are not on the same level, for goodness sakes. For the fact that we are from the same area or from the same region or from the same hood does not really mean that we are the same thing. How can Tottenham be losing like that? How can a team be so unambitious? How can a team exist and they lack ambition? Because the way I see Tottenham is more or less like they lack ambition. I have said it over and over again that if you are playing Tottenham and they score you first, just play your normal game. You are going to end up playing Tottenham. So that also really happened, and we all know that right now David Moyes has picked up the job as a Everton manager. He now runs everything that happens in Everton, and Calvin Lewin has not really been playing for Everton, but because of the fact that David Moyes has some sort of, should I say, faith in him, he actually delivered on that faith just this weekend. So because I think Everton were already looking at shipping him on, they're already looking at making him go to other teams, and now that he has scored, hopefully maybe they will begin to use him in more games. So the other thing that really happened is that and it's not Liverpool almost went away with a draw. But some way they were able to steal the win during the extra time. 2 goals from Darwin Núñez, who actually came in as a substitute. It was really a very good performance. They had so many goal attempts where they couldn't score, but eventually they were able to score just about the end of the match. I would have really loved that they played a draw in that match, because that draw would have really favored Arsenal. Even though Arsenal has not really played Aston Villa at that time, I was skeptical about Aston Villa. In my mind, I thought we were going to actually win Aston Villa by 3 goals to 1. That was my prediction. But Arsenal being Arsenal, we from a 2-goal advantage, we then went on to the draw. It was really disappointing. I never really saw us, dropping 2 points, because now at the top of the table, Liverpool currently is leading us by 6 points. Liverpool is currently on 50 points. We are on 44 points. And when you look at it like that, it's really not so good, because we could have been just 4 points behind Liverpool right now, and we are going to just be giving them a hot chase. But as we would have it, we are just making it very easy for Liverpool to win the league and even expand more on the point. So currently now, as the league table stands, Arsenal is currently on 50 points. Liverpool is currently on 50 points. Arsenal on 44 points. Nottingham Forest on 44 points as well. Then Manchester City on 38 points. So Manchester City, I think it was yesterday, they really destroyed Ipswich by scoring 6 goals. So we saw goals from Alan, Foden, and a host of other players like that. Now, Man City can be very surprising because when you look at Man City, just weeks back, they were having a very serious problem, internal problems. Can't say internal problems, but they were having problems. I don't really know the details of the problems. But now it's looking like they are picking themselves up again. Their form is returning back. And maybe we can actually see them because right now they are fourth on the table. They are on the same goal. They are on the same point with Newcastle, and as it is right now, they have played 22 matches. They won 11, then they drew 5 and they lost 6. They lost 6. So when you look at the way they are performing right now, they likely would be third. So Champions League spot is already sure for them because they are 38 points and Nottingham Forest is on 44 points. Arsenal is also on 44 points. So as it is, it's just about how many points is that? It's just about 6 points to become third. So I think Man City is actually going to displace Nottingham Forest. They can't displace Arsenal as it is, even though we are currently having issues. They can't displace us. So that is another thing I want to talk about in the week that passed. And since Darwin Núñez joined Liverpool since the 2020-2023 seasons, this is actually the first time that he's coming in as a substitute to have 7 goals and 4 assists, as his contribution coming from the bench. So making a total of 11. So it's really, really surprising how, Arne Slot has been able to unlock Darwin Núñez in that forward area. And going forward now, the fourth thing we're actually going to be talking about is Amorim. Amorim is actually in an unbelievable position. They, at the Old Trafford, this weekend faced Brighton, and Manchester United actually lost by 3-1. Brighton demolished them. Bad performances from the likes of Dalot and all of these players like that. With Mitoma having a fun time, having a field time, and also when you look at the performance, because a lot of Manchester United, supporters have actually been pointing out, how bad Onana has been. But I actually do not think Onana is the problem. I think they have a defense problem, and generally many of their players are not even, where they think they are. They are not even the standard they think they are. So one of the news happening around Manchester United right now is also that Anthony is leaving. I think he's going to one of the Spanish clubs. I can't remember the name in my head right now, but I think he's leaving on loan to one of the Spanish clubs. So going on loan, I think, is a good move for Anthony. He's likely going to be able to have more playing time and probably be able to show himself to the manager, because he doesn't have the favor in England. Even before Amorim took up the job in November, when you look at what has really happened in England, you realize that as at the time Erik ten Hag was the manager of Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, although brought him from Ajax, but at some point in time he lost faith in him. So I think it's a good one that he's going there. So in that match, if you really look at what happened in that match, you realize that Amad Diallo, you realize that Diago Dalot, and even Nosarawi, these guys are not really playing well in the way Amorim is planning to set out. Amorim currently uses the 3-4-3 formation, and I think this formation is not really maybe suitable for them. Maybe with time they are going to adapt, or maybe Manchester United will find a way to ship off these players and bring in the players that Amorim will really want in the squad. So that is the number 4 thing that happened in the EPL. And the last but not the least, and which will lead me to actually talking about us now today, is that Arsenal recruitment has been very bad in the summer. We understand that, and that really showed in our game against Aston Villa. We did not even see how we were going to bring in anybody else. I mean, imagine bringing in Sterling from the bench, and who else was it that we brought out from the bench? So we are currently really facing it. We don't have a strong bench, and our players they are getting depleted at every point in time because we have so much injury in our squad right now that, as at the time Aston Villa were doing their own substitution, it was as if they still had so much players on the bench. You know, they outshine us now so much that day in terms of players that they could bring in from the bench and that would impact immediately on the, on the game. And we saw it that day. We saw it that day when they brought in these fresh legs that they really, Ollie Watkins, for example, when they brought him in, these guys really changed the game immediately and they were able to force Arsenal to a 2-2 draw. Even from the fact that Arsenal was in a winning position already from the 2 goals, they were able to force us to a 2-2 draw at the Emirates Stadium, which is really very annoying. And also, we dropped points, So Arsenal's summer transfer window is a topic that everybody is currently talking about. And now we are in January. January right now, personally, if you ask me, only if you have not supported Arsenal long enough, that you would not know that Arsenal is actually not going to be bringing anybody in this January. Arsenal is not going to be bringing anybody in this January. And the news around now is that, of course, we know William Saliba did not play against Aston Villa. And the reason why William Saliba did not play against Aston Villa is due to an hamstring injury. Now, reports are saying that he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks. And in that 2-3 weeks, he's actually going to be missing a lot of matches. And the very first match is going to miss is actually against Dinamo Zagreb in the UEFA Champions League game that we are going to be having on Wednesday. The next match is going to be against Wolves, that's in the weekend. Then the next one is going to be against Girona, also in the Champions League. Then the one that will follow, which I pray doesn't miss, is actually going to be against Manchester City in the English Premier League. So I think I'm okay with the fact if he is able to miss, for example, miss Wolves and probably miss the Champions League against Dinamo Zagreb. But I do not want him to miss anything that has to do with Mancity in the English EPL. I need William Saliba back. Gabriel, of course, is fit. I need him back. And I need Saliba back because of another reason. I do not want to see Thomas Partey playing as a right back. I want Thomas Partey to be able to go back into the midfield because Thomas Partey as a right back does not work. Times and times again, we have said it that Thomas Partey as a right back does not work. Thomas Partey as a right back is a wrong move. So Thomas Partey needs to go back to his natural position. I would rather see Declan Rice play as a 6 or as a 5, rather than see Thomas Partey play as a right back. So what I would have loved Arsenal to do, since we do not trust Kiwior, we have Jacob Kiwior on the bench, but we do not trust Jacob Kiwior. Maybe from likelihood of the fact that our match against Crystal Palace made a mistake where Mbeumo was able to bully him. Then with that mistake, maybe many Arsenal fans are not really trusting him. But Arteta himself should trust in the player. Because I can tell you for a fact that when Arteta trusts in a player, he can use that player forever. So what actually is happening with not trusting Jacob Kiwior? And personally, I believe if Jacob Kiwior is not playing, he's not also going to improve. He's not also going to improve. So I would have loved if Jacob Kiwior comes back to his position. He's a natural defender. Partey goes back to the midfield. Then Timber plays the right back. Lewis Kelly plays the left back. Then we have our defense back. Or use Declan Rice in the defense. I mean, those are the options, but using Thomas Partey in the defense does not really work. Although it's sounding like something that makes sense, but over and over again that Arteta has experimented on this, it has proven that it doesn't work and it's not working. So what do we do? How do we move forward? Currently now we are depleted also in defense, and Arsenal is not ready to bring in any players. The earlier as an Arsenal fan, the better. What I see Arsenal doing actually is that because the report even say that Arsenal are actually looking into a possible return of Tomiyasu as well as Ben White. That is the best Arsenal can do for you. Arsenal can find a way to speed up, or if not speed up, be hopeful. They will be, as an Arsenal fan, you have to be hopeful. So Arsenal will make you become very hopeful of the return of Ben White. At least if Ben White returns, for example, Ben White will go back to the right back. Timber will for now play Pierre with Gabriel in the defense, and then on the left back we actually would see our guy Lewis Kelly, who has been doing amazingly well. But for the fact that Arsenal is going to get any addition this January transfer window, I don't see it happening. You can see that many of the talks we have been having is actually based on the summer. We are looking at Zubimendi as a probably replacement for Thomas Partey, but it is a summer transfer window. It's not going to be happening now. And of course, yes, we know that we need people, we need bodies in our forward line. We need wingers who are going to help us right now, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. A lot of people are looking at Semenyo. A lot of people are looking at what's his name now? These guys, and the people are even talking about Osimhen, because currently Osimhen is on loan in Napoli, and I think his loan is going to be coming to an end very soon. Arsenal is not going to get this guy. Let us just work with what we have, and what we have is that we are stuck with Sterling as our, right forward, and as our left forward, we are actually stuck with Martinelli, or probably interchanging with Trossard. Then in our center, of course, we have Havertz. So that is exactly what is going to be happening. But what I do not want to see is, I don't want to at any point in time see Thomas Partey as a right back. I want Thomas Partey back in the midfield so that it can actually support the attack. It can move the ball forward, because the effort of Declan Rice, Thomas Partey and Odegaard has actually been the thing that has been working for us over and over again. And anytime there is a Declan Rice, anytime there is a Thomas Partey in the midfield, it gives Declan Rice the freedom to be able to go forward better. We have seen this work over and over, and we are able to even do more SGs. It's not like Thomas Partey playing as a right back doesn't give us the XG. We know that our forward has actually been the ones that are not being able to convert, many of the chances we have been having. But let these players play their role. And if Mikel Arteta is bringing players into the club and is not trusting them, it is on him. That is not on anybody else. He needs to actually start trusting the players and bring into the club, because he's the one that brings them to the club, for goodness sakes. I support seeing Jacob Kiwior playing in our team. Jacob Kiwior might not be like Saliba, might not be like, but we bought him as a backup, for goodness sake. So why are we not using him? So this is actually just, my roundup for the week. Looking at what really happened in the EPL this past weekend, and looking at the possibility of, are we actually really going to get somebody, or we are just, doing all these media runs, and at the end of the day, we'll not get anybody. Because it's looking like we are just doing the media runs and we are not going to get anybody. Our forward now, we have Bukayo Saka out, we have Nwaneri out, we have Gabriel Jesus out, we have 3 crucial players out. And these 3 crucial players is almost the end of the transfer window, and we are not even talking about bringing in anymore. We are still only talking about speculations, when Mancity has done two completed transfers already. And these players that they brought in have not even started playing, and yet they are getting the results. And we are just very hopeful of, okay, who are we bringing in? We are bringing in Zubimendi. We are bringing in this one. We are not going to bring in anybody. If you have supported Arsenal long enough, you would know. Arsenal will just wait for people to come back. People like, what's his name now? Ben White. People like, Calafiori. At least if we have Calafiori and Ben White back, for example, now, it's going to really help. Maybe they can push Lewis Kelly into the midfield. Then we have Calafiori as our left back. We have Ben White as our right back. Maybe that would even help in the midfield a little bit. Maybe that would help, instead of saying Merino. Maybe that would help in the midfield a little bit. So guys, that is just the media roundup, and then they talk about Arsenal possible transfers. I don't see who we are actually getting linked with. Because if Arsenal is actually going to be doing any business, it's more likely going to be the end of the transfer window. Maybe the day the transfer window is a day before the end of the transfer window. And we are likely going to be bringing people just on loan. So I've been reading in the media that the Cunha deal is actually looking real. That Arsenal is really looking at bringing in Matheus Cunha. I made a video on Matheus Cunha. So Matheus Cunha can actually play different roles on the field. He can play as a midfielder, and he can play as a right forward. He can play in many different positions, which is good. He's versatile. He's a versatile player. He currently plays for Wolves, which is good. What about looking into Muhammad Kudus, and these guys. But enough of the transfer talk. Let's focus on Dinamo Zagreb match in the Champions League that is coming up on Wednesday. Do you see us now winning that match? Please kindly drop your comment section. Let's talk about possibilities of us now winning that match and probably making a strong wave in the Champions League. How do you see us setting up? Do you think there are going to be any surprise returns from our injury list? Because Zinchenko himself has not even been in the squad. Zinchenko has not been in the squad, and reports are saying that he's actually likely going to be going to Inter Milan. So I support that. I think he has to go to Inter Milan because he's not favored anymore. So if he goes to Inter Milan, who are we going to replace him? Because we need that money as well to be able to fulfill our transfer promises. Alright guys, so thank you so much. Please kindly share my video, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time to talk more about the Arsenal. So please do have a good day. Thank you so much.